but to my knowledge, none of us have ever been told to slow down on testing.
While testifying to Congress about the U.S. response to the coronavirus, Dr. Fauci answered a question about Donald Trump. Did Donald Trump actually tell him to slow the testing down, please? Now, this is something Trump said over the weekend in Tulsa. Let me just remind you of that.
When you do testing to that extent, you're going to find more people, you're going to find more cases. So I said to my people, slow the testing down, please. They test and they test. We got tests that people don't know what's going on. We got tests. We got another one over here.
Now, there is two ways to look at this. Either Trump is lying as a part of his performance here, or he is telling you the truth and he told his people this and he's just including that as well into his performance. Again, coming down to the fact that he's really just performing here regardless of what he's actually saying. I mean, that's why a lot of these people show up. They enjoy the entertainment that Trump provides them. Now, he also, before I get to Fauci's comments, Trump also doubled down on Tuesday here saying, quote, "I don't kid. Let me just tell you, let me make it clear," Trump told reporters when pressed on whether his comments at a campaign rally Saturday in Tulsa were intended as a joke. Quote, "We have got the greatest testing program anywhere in the world. We test better than anybody in the world. Our tests are the best in the world, and we have the most of them. By having more tests, we find more cases." So, yes, of course, when you test more people, you're going to find more cases. But as I'm going to get to the numbers later, it also shows you something else. But before I get there, of course, as I discussed, let me get to what Dr. Fauci said in response to Trump's comments over the weekend.
I, as a member of the task force, and my colleagues on the task force, to my knowledge, I know for sure, but to my knowledge, none of us have ever been told to slow down on testing. That just is a fact. In fact, we will be doing more testing, as you've heard from Admiral Giroir, not only testing to specifically identify people in the identify, isolate, and contact trace, but also much more surveillance if you want to get your arms around and understand exactly what's going on in community spread. So it's the opposite. We're going to be doing more testing, not less.
And then let me just ask the same question of Dr. Redfield. Do you agree with the president on this, or do you think we should be testing more people? You don't want to talk about the president, just tell us if you think we should be testing more people.
Yes, Dr. Fauci said, all of us have been and continue to be committed to increasing readily, timely access to testing. We've made a marked improvement. We still have a ways to go. One of the key things, as Tony mentioned, is surveillance, expanding surveillance because of the asymptomatic nature of this infection. And in doing so, we're looking at ways that can really substantially enhance testing by potentially pooling samples. So right now, as Gerard said, we're doing 500,000, 600,000 tests a day. If we can pool samples 5 to 1, that would bring it to 3 million tests a day. So we're continuing to try to enhance testing. It's a critical underpinning of our response.
All right. So according to Dr. Fauci and the CDC director there, they have not been told to slow the testing down. And if Trump did say that, the word clearly didn't get to them. And as I'm going to show you in the numbers, the testing has not been slowed down. But it also shows you something else. First, though, let's just get to the total cases here. So total cases in the U.S. right now at about 2.2 or 2.3 million, and total deaths about 120,000. This is, I mean, there's no other way to put it. This is horrible. Now, when we get to the testing, I think we should sort of get off of this topic, as it is correct to say that the U.S. is now doing a lot more testing, but it shows you something else. So here, just first, the pure data here. Overall, this is not per capita, but overall, U.S. has had the most tests, over 25 million. You see Russia here in second, then India. Then, but let me show you per capita. So per capita, total COVID-19 tests per 1,000 people as of June 23rd. So Iceland has the most. You know, you have a smaller country like Iceland, it's a lot easier to test everybody. So Iceland has the most tests per capita than Denmark, then Russia, then Israel, then the U.S. Now, this also shows you something else, though. So while you can say it's correct to say that, yes, they are doing a lot more testing, and that is good. But it also shows you that more people feel the need to get the test because they're feeling sick. They're feeling the symptoms, so they go and get the test. So, look, right now in Canada, our numbers are declining significantly. They've declined a lot from where they were back in March, April. And I haven't felt the need to get a test because I haven't felt the symptoms, even though I'm in a major city. So when it comes to, people getting the test, I mean, Trump points out the fact that, well, you do more testing, you get more people with coronavirus. Of course you do, but it also shows you that because there is so much testing being done and there is an increase in testing, it also shows you that more people feel the need to actually get the test because they have the symptoms of the coronavirus. Showing you the real focus right now should be on the lack of response from the states. And you're seeing, right now, Florida and Arizona, massive hotspots, and they have reopened the states. I mean, the idea that you would reopen in the middle of the pandemic when you haven't actually dealt with it yet is completely insane, because you can't even say that you're seeing a second wave, because what you are actually seeing is the first wave continuing. So if there's going to be a second wave, it's still, months away, because you have to actually get past the first wave first, and it doesn't appear the U.S. has. So there has to be a lot more done and a lot more scrutiny of the fact that these states are opened and people are going out and shopping and going to beaches and going to events, and the fact that Trump would hold a rally in Tulsa. I mean, thankfully, 20,000 people didn't show up, but that arena could have held 20,000 people. But easily, I mean, we're going to see in 2 weeks if there was a super spreader there, if there was someone there with the coronavirus that spread it to a lot more people, who spread it to more people, and just continued to increase the cases in Tulsa, which we're already seeing an increase before Trump got there for his rally. I mean, look, I know most of my audience likely knows this, but do not go out to any kind of massive rally like that, an indoor rally where no one's wearing masks. I know the protests are going on, of course, but most of the videos I've seen of these protests, I mean, they're all outside. But on top of that, most people are wearing the mask. And if you go to a protest, please wear a mask. I mean, you have to protect yourself, or else this is really never going to go away. And the longer this is the more this is prolonged, I mean, it's going to continue to wreak havoc on society. And it appears that at this point, at least in terms of the U.S., there really is no way out of this until there is a vaccine.